So Bryce James here is a fine basketball player. He's a fine basketball player. He's gone to Arizona. Hopefully he either can get a good education, or I heard it's a party school. So he might have a fun 4 years there, but not really going there for basketball reasons, if we're being completely honest. But I actually saw a video. It was by Sam Okaru. I will leave a link to his channel in the description. I saw the title of the video, and I literally watched the first minute of it, and I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of want to react and give my opinion on this situation. But anyway, so this is on his Instagram, and this is what he posted.
Championship. Gilbert was speaking facts. Y'all saw Gilbert put his son on an school where he has to be the man. So he has to drop 40 points. He has to drop 50 points. If he don't drop 40, 50, or 30, they lose. LeBron did the opposite. He put his sons with the best of the best. And hindsight, you think it's supposed to develop the kid, but it doesn't. Kid doesn't know how it feels to beat a man. I think as a hooper, you got to know how it feels to beat a man. I've never seen a college.
I mean, the difference is when it comes to Bryce James is that Bryce James is not only not the man, he is not a starter. Like, we have to be honest when it comes to Bryce James. Like, a lot of people are like, oh no, Bryce does start. And it's like, no, a different Bryce. I don't even know the dude's name. But it's like, you know a player's not great in high school when you cannot find tape on them and you cannot find stats. There is no tape available for Bryce James, and there is no stats available for Bryce James. It's really, really hard to find because he doesn't do anything. He's not good. But it's a comment from David West, if I can find it. That is what this is a response to. So, David West, who is an NBA champion, and he's, in fairness to him, he's an NBA champion because he did some, like, I'm trying to see if I can find the comments to make them bigger, because he did some generational ring chasing. Like, he went to the Spurs one year, didn't win a ring with the Spurs, then said, screw it, I'm going to the Warriors. Sorry about the light, I don't know what's wrong with it. And said, screw it, I'm going to go to Warriors. So college coaches want winners. They want compliant, mature guys who know how to win, understanding winning is an everyday mindset. Second, everybody's path is different. Can't put every kid or athlete in the same script of work. And I'm going to be honest, like, I think Bronny James was a damn good high school role player. I think he could have been, by the end of his fourth year, a damn good college role player. He's not going to be an NBA role player. I think he'll be a pretty decent, pretty mediocre G League role player, I guess. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Bronny James, he's just not going to be an NBA player. But I will say this, Bronny James was a D1 talent. The reason is that, like, I don't think you can call Bryce James a winner. He averaged 5 points a game on like 20% shooting during the summer for a not great team, and I mean, doesn't play much for a Sierra Canyon team who, albeit, are pretty good. And Gilbert Arenas, where is his comment? View replies. He said, it only works for the gifted. Look at all the Sierra Canyon 5-stars. They all became role players. I mean, did Amari Bailey didn't become a role player? What's Sierra Canyon? Scottie Pippen's kid? What players played for Sierra Canyon? Maybe Scottie Pippen's. Scottie Pippen's son. Marvin Bagley. Wasn't even an NBA role player, I'm not going to lie. Christian Coloco, fair enough. Scottie Pippen Jr., fair enough. Two role players. Scottie Pippen Jr. has been great. Brandon Boston. Zaire Wade, no. KJ Martin, in fairness. Zaire Williams. Mari Bailey, Bronny James. I mean, I had one star and it's Juju Watkins. But, like, the thing is, like, some guys, if you go to a lot of good players out of Montverde, a lot of good players at Oak Hill. It's not always the case. It says here, none of them developed how to take over and how to take over. All the superstars in the NBA, you should go back and look at their high school teams. All passive players. All the passive players you can play them while they don't take over. Look at their high school teams, super teams. I mean, KD played at Oak Hill. Did KD play at Oak Hill? I know Carmelo played at Oak Hill. Dwayne Wade, fair enough. And to be fair, a lot of guys that have, for lack of a better word, that dog in them were not on the greatest high school teams. A lot of them weren't even on the greatest college teams, if we're being honest. A lot of these, like, high motor I'm gonna go and win. I'm just gonna go and win. A lot of these guys did not go to a lot of them even the top colleges. But then at the same time, you have to look at a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander who goes to Kentucky, maybe isn't as hyped as he should have been in Kentucky, and is so much better in the NBA. Like, it literally depends on the person. I think that there's no, like, wrong thing development-wise. I think the issue is that LeBron James's kids were being trained under the assumption that they were going to be 6'8", 6'9", and Bryce James is 6'4". Bronny James is 6'1". It says here, super teams create perfect role players. Coach won't winning. What do you think happened to kids in my son's situation? They have to do everything to try and win. They have to make key stops. They have to take 5-10 straight shots to keep them in the game. 18 points in the fourth. They need to learn how to win because when they win the game, it's because they had to do so and get that win. Super teams don't teach them how to win. It's like at Gumbo, they all put in enough work, enough to win by 20, 30, but none of them actually did any individually to learn how to win the game. None missed a game winner and it hurt so bad they couldn't sleep, and it made them take 2,000 shots. None of those guys got double teamed to build character. That's why a lot of 5-stars flop, because once they need to take over, they don't know what it takes. When you're the only one, you have to be in the best shape to endure what's going to happen in that game. If you have a superstar AAU team, make your high school team trash, and vice versa. You need a place to be selfish as AAU team, Compton Magic, which is all 4 and 5 stars. And you know what? Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Gilbert Arenas. I'm not a big fan of the xenophobic rants. I think he's right with that. It's like, okay, yeah, go play AAU with all the 4 and 5 stars, but when you're playing high school, you're playing with a team. You're playing with a team where you're the guy, or vice versa. If you're on this super team in high school, you're playing AAU, and you're the guy AAU. So I actually fully understand that, and I think the big issue is like people equate Bryce James and Bronny James not being superstar NBA players, or not even be in Bronny's case not being an NBA level player, and in Bryce's case not even being a D1 player, as some sort of a knock on the parenting. But the reality of the situation is like, it's like, oh, he's got LeBron's genes, and I'm like, whatever with Bronny got some athleticism, man. Bryce James is 6'3" with a mediocre wingspan who can throw down rim grazers and can't shoot. Like, he can't shoot, he can't dribble, he's not a great rebounder. He's a 6'3.5", 6'4" center. Like, he's just like, that's not a knock on it. Like, there's no amount of developing you can do. There's no amount of money you can put into people to automatically turn them into an athlete. Like, there are very, very few sons of NBA superstars, that are good, that were elite in the NBA. Like, I'm trying to think of like obviously Kobe's dad was in the NBA, but Kobe grew up in Italy idolizing Oscar Schmidt. Steph Curry, he had to be a walk-on at Davidson. Like, he wasn't that good in high school. I mean, he was good, but he was just very small. He was he was not a walk-on. Sorry, he was on scholarship at Davidson, but it looked like he was going to walk on. Was it walk on wherever? Was it Georgia Tech where his dad went to college? And Del Curry wasn't even an NBA superstar. And that's just the reality situation. Is that I think Gilbert's right in what he's doing, but I think you can say he's right in what he's doing because it worked. I think if it didn't work out, you could say, oh, we should have just went to a super team. And I think this is, as much as anything, outcome-based assessment, because there are a lot of really good NBA players that have like been just guys. Like Luka Doncic, when Luka first went up with the Real Madrid senior team, although he was an absolute superstar at his own age, by the time he basically stopped playing underage basketball and was only playing with the EuroLeague and ACB team, he was barely coming off the bench. Same with Jokic. These type of guys barely played for years. And a lot of people think development is, oh no, you only develop by playing a whole bunch of minutes. So it's like, I don't know if anyone knows an official way of there's no surefire way of making your kid an NBA player. And I don't actually want to question, other than getting Bronny James into the NBA when he didn't deserve it, and getting Bryce James a scholarship to Arizona when he didn't deserve it. I don't think you really knock LeBron James. Like, they seem to be good kids. They seem to work hard. You've just got one who's really damn good at basketball, just not NBA level, and one who's not very good at not that good at basketball. And Yeah, like that's the reality. The whole reality of the situation is that if like nobody, if Bryce James played D2 somewhere, or heck, let's just say he goes to Duquesne and sits on the bench, barely plays in his first couple of years, and by the end of it, he's like a 4 point a game player at Duquesne. If he goes to Duquesne and Bronny plays 4 years at USC and they either choose to go play pro overseas or not, like I don't think this talk will be there as much. But the problem is because it's LeBron James, because people have been following his kids for so long, because people were lying about the fact that they said Bryce was better than Bronny just because he's a couple of inches taller. This conversation doesn't stop, unfortunately. But anyway, I'll see you guys.